Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. Hopefully your portfolio and uranium isn't getting you too worried. Again, ratios are good, market conditions are good, and we should hold on. I'm gonna give you a little bit of information in my opinion. I'm gonna look at this more from a bearish perspective than a bullish perspective. I do think we could potentially have a pullback. How big? Not exactly sure. It could be something small, could be something, it could be a little bit of a pullback, but we'll see. Again, my name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. And if you guys are looking for financial education or undervalued investment opportunities, click subscribe and join the community. So I'm going over uranium. I'm going to show you the setup that I see. I've seen this before, and I'm seeing it in gold as well. So I'm getting it across a couple of different sectors. I'll show you what the setup looks like. So this is uranium technical analysis. And I just drew this in paint real quick just to show you what the setup looks like. Usually what happens is you're coming down or something. You've got the size of the candlestick body is what these are representing. These are down days in red, up days in black. And what I see and can potentially see is, let's say you're moving back and forth. You get a large down move where the momentum is greater to the downside than the buyers can push it back up. And you're left with a small difference between what the buyers could do and what the sellers could do. And that's what this little difference is between this line and this line. That's the difference. And if you throw in a candlestick like a bearish engulfing, like this one here, where this one engulfs the one before it, usually that means you're going to go down. And if you have a pattern that this falls into, that goes back like here, that makes it even stronger. So remember this setup where we've got big down days and then small up days trying to fight back up. Remember this. I'm going to show you and apply it to some of the uranium companies. So this is North Shore Global Uranium Mining. It's an ETF. Right off the bat, when I look at it, we're coming on up and the momentum is slowing. I am noticing that. Now, we came up here and you can see that this thing was contracting up against something. The buyers are starting to equal the sellers. And the buyers are getting a little bit tired. That's why the momentum, if you were to look at this, is slowing. We came and if you drew in a pattern here, it squeezed up to this tip here and came down with some good volume. Now, someone could say, well, it's because of the news. Maybe, maybe not. It could still be significant, even though the news may be legit, or maybe it's not legit, that news. But this is what I'm looking for. This is what's important. It's not necessarily the direction, but we squeezed up here. We broke to the downside on good volume and a big candlestick. We put a little wick on the bottom, which usually means you kind of pop up the next day. And we popped up the next day. What I'm looking for, since this has a lot of momentum behind it, is what are the buyers going to do? Are we going to see a pattern where we have a large down day and then these three little small up days or two small up days where the momentum is going to carry this to the downside? So we potentially could see some downside here if the buyers don't step in. I am expecting more downside if I were to look at this to kind of roll over a little bit. Now, how far is it going to roll over? That's the question. I don't have that answer for you. What I do is I look for momentum, and I don't try to put price projections on anything. I'm a long-term investor at heart. I'm going to be holding this. I'm not selling anything. So in the short term, we could pull back a little bit and have a pullback where it either chops sideways or comes down a little bit, because of the momentum, because of the chart setup here with the candlesticks. We could have a little bit further downside. Now, maybe the buyers step in here and blow this thing to the upside. Again, I'm kind of looking at it from a bearish perspective here. Again, CCJ, we're seeing it across. This is a bearish engulfing. It's basically the same setup as this right here. It engulfed the ones, we came down, tried to fight back up, put a bearish engulfing, and then usually that's the down day that we saw. They paired it with some news, and then we're seeing a smaller up day come up. Are we going to see another small update that's contracted very tight, ready to roll back over, it's possible. The momentum here doesn't look as bad. It looks like it's pretty steady moving up. So we'll have to see what happens. I'm just looking to see if we're going to get a couple of small up days and then get another big kind of rollover. Here's next gen. This is also exhibiting that kind of sell-off. We do have a wick on the bottom, and what that means is that we came and reversed up higher, and then we just have a little small down day. Will this momentum continue? I don't exactly know for sure, but usually when you kind of come up against buying and sellers and the sellers give you a good whack, sometimes you go sideways and it may pull back more than what we've got. So this pulled back quite well, came up, and we were contracting the entire way up. If you were to chart this out all to this point, and it was kind of rolling over. So this, I don't think it's going to resolve itself in one day. I think it's going to take more than one day. We're either going to go sideways or pull back is my guess. Fission Uranium Corp. Now, if the leaders are starting to pull back, is this going to pull back? Don't know. I mean, we are in this. We are contracting up to this point. We do have a couple of big down days here. Is it going to pull back? Potentially. But you know what? I'm not selling anything. Don't get me wrong. I'm holding on. Now, Denison Mines looks a little bit different. What I see is a pattern that broke here to the upside. This day right here broke to the upside on a big up day. We have smaller down days, two big up days, two down days pulling back, but it's positive in its movement. We pulled up again and we contracted back, and then the sellers are coming to a point. So this one looks like it wants to go to the upside. Would I buy here? I don't know. I mean, the overall sector looks like it's going to come down. So we've got mixed signals. Energy fuels, I'm just looking at this here. Two bigger down days, two small up days, and a big down day. So I think this could stair step lower a little bit. We did break this to the upside though. So it could reverse and bounce higher. We're at a very hard spot to read charts, I would say, because we had this big sell-off day, which was probably because of the news. People got scared, and we do have momentum slowing here. It is kind of rolling over. So this very well could pull back with the momentum slowing. Now, Global Atomic, same thing. The momentum is slowing. We've got this bearish engulfing here. We've got a nice kind of reversal day here coming up, but I don't see the buyers stepping in here. Where are the buyers? And then the news came out. So it's that news in there also kind of makes the readings a little bit harder because you don't know if this is a legit day or not. So I think this could go either way, up or down right here. And I think a pullback it could be in the cards if we were to pull back a little bit. Looking at the overall sector. Now, Bannerman, now this is a funky pattern. They're not behaving like I would normally see. Usually what you see is a kind of a big move down right off the bat. This one almost has an acceleration move where the candlesticks are getting bigger as we get further down. Usually that's kind of weird. Because what happens is you've got, here, I'll kind of just jump back in. Maybe I can describe this real quick. Usually what you have is when you go up in price or down in price, you encounter more buyers or sellers. So if you go up in price, you encounter more sellers. You go down in price, you encounter more buyers. The higher you are, like where Bannerman kind of is, usually you see a lot of sellers kind of knock this thing out, and then it contracts in candlestick length as time goes on because the buyers are starting to equal the sellers as the price goes down. The price going down means you've got more buyers at certain price points. This is the opposite. You've got small little down days that are accelerating in its sell-off, which is a little bit different. I hardly ever see that. So I just wanted to make that kind of well known there that I don't see this too often where it accelerates at an even pace like that. I don't know if that's a bad or a good thing. I mean, usually you don't like seeing an acceleration. You want to see a deceleration where the buyers are starting to equal the sellers and it comes to a point. So this might have further downside. Lightbridge, there's your bearish engulfing here, and we are coming on back. The buyers didn't step in, the sellers did. So this could pull back a little bit. Uranium Royalty Corporation. Remember, I bought this day here on the way up. It is pulling on back. The news did not help it, but we are still in this nice area of support down here. Could this be a shoulder, head, shoulder? Maybe. Maybe it creates a shoulder or something like that, but we'll see. Uranium Energy Corporation. We get the bearish engulfing that I have here. A couple of big down days, small up day, big down day. We may kind of pull up and roll over. It's a possibility. We've got bearish piercing, bearish engulfing. We've got some all through here, and the momentum is slowing a little bit. This is basically almost the same high as the high here. But this, remember, this could pull back. This could be fake news, and maybe we push this thing higher. So it's a little bit more difficult to read when news comes into play. Here's Standard Uranium. This guy's just been battling back and forth between the buyers and sellers, moving sideways in this consolidation. Well, not even consolidation. It's in a pattern that's coiling up. So this could go either way. It looks pretty good to me. Baseload broke to the upside. This is a Canadian exploration company. It broke to the upside. It's pulling back and it's retesting, or this we'll call it support line now, this trend line. And I think it could potentially stay above here and move on higher. The explorers are looking a little bit different than the producer developers. And again, I didn't do all the companies. I'm just trying to get an overall picture of the sector. I think if you want to cost average into this, the way that I would do it is I'm gonna make up an amount of money. All right. If it's $1,000 and I want to cost average into something, maybe you take it and you break it up into small increments and you say, okay, this is pulling back every 20 cents or 50 cents or whatever the stock price is. Every 10 cents, I'm going to add $100. So it goes down 10 cents, I'll add 100. Goes down 10 cents, I'll add another 100. I'll do that until it stops going down. And then if it breaks the downtrend, kind of like you see in Baseload here, it breaks the downtrend, pulls back to do like a retest, you add the rest or something like that. You buy into strength. That's one approach that you can have. Or another approach that you can have is you see this thing coming back in a downtrend, or you think it's going to pull back. You wait, you pause, you have it come down. And then when it breaks the downtrend, like we have here in Baseload, that's right behind me. If it breaks this downtrend here, you load up in this area right in here over a couple of days. But usually I cost average in. I don't do one big lump sum. And my approach would be, if I'm looking at these companies and I'm saying, where would I want to deploy money? I would let the companies and the charts decide where I want to deploy. So if I would make a list, I'd say, these are my favorite 10 companies. I would watch those 10 companies, and then whichever ones where the charts look good to acquire any of those 10 companies, I would acquire the ones that look the best or have pullbacks or are breaking out of chart patterns. So of these, the ones that I would like the best, Baseload looks very good right here because it broke out of its pattern. It very well could break back down, but it looks better than those that have the big sell-offs, like Next Gen Energy and Camco. So I would focus my energies on a Baseload, on Standard Uranium's looking very good. We've got this coiling up into a pattern here, and I recently added in here. That's where I added. I didn't add to Next Gen or Camco. I added to Standard Uranium. So, UEC is kind of looking like it could potentially top. I probably wouldn't go there. I added a little bit in Uranium Royalty Corp to get it in front of me. Now I'm watching to see what it's going to do. If you have a downtrend line that you put in here, maybe you wait until it comes back up, or we see like a bullish engulfing pattern. I'll let you guys know when that happens and where I would add. So now I'm waiting. I've got the position in front of me. I added a little bit already, and I'm waiting to see when the next add point is going to be. Looking up here, no, I wouldn't add into Bannerman. I wouldn't add into Global Atomic. I would be waiting. Denison Mines is kind of in the middle. Fission, I'd wait to see which way it would break. If it breaks to the upside, I would probably enter. If it breaks to the downside, I would wait. But those are the two that I would look at. Some of these exploration companies at the bottom here, they look like they're bottoming and potentially could head higher. Now, if the entire sector sells off again, these will probably get dragged with it. So keep that in mind. And usually what happens with me is I get overexcited and I add a little bit early. I always do that. You have to have super patience for these things to really kind of wait till the end of the end and buy into that strength. That's the lowest risk approach, is to buy into strength, never into weakness. So if we see weakness, I would wait for something in the market to tell me we're strengthening and firming up. Then I start to deploy some money. And it's okay to move slow. It's okay to buy something or put in a strategy of cost averaging in, where you buy something, you kind of wait till it kind of bottoms out, you buy a little bit more, it starts coming up, you buy a little bit more. And if it kind of zigzags around, you buy a little bit more, and you keep buying over time. So you spread out your purchase. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. If you guys have any questions or comments, please put it in the comment section. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.